Welcome to the Vintage Iron Project. Let's go.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the Vintage Iron Project. We came all the way to Texas today to show you the most impressive collection of motocross bikes in the country. The Holigan collection is very, very private, very exclusive, but we've been granted access to show you everything he's got, and it's a lot. They say everything's bigger in Texas, and this certainly is. We're here today with Michael Holigan of the Holigan collection. Michael, thanks for having us, and why don't you start us off with telling a little bit about why you started collecting to begin with?
Well, you know, started riding back in the late 70s and then started racing in the early 80s. I was kind of a terror of the back half of the novice class in the 125s around Mosier Valley and Lake Whitney. And, you know, during that time, really impressed with the pros that raced, you know, those golden years from Bob Hanna to Bailey to Ward. And it was just a big time for me, so it made an impression. And later in life, when I had the means, I started collecting some of their bikes.
Do you have a favorite bike of all the bikes you've restored?
It's like saying, do you have a favorite kid? And I do, but on the bikes, you know, Hannah was really a hero of mine, so I think having Hannah's Last Works bike was really cool.
Yep.
Johnny O'Mara's Mugen, you know, from 1980 in Mid-Ohio GP. Just a lot of them, all awards bikes. You know, he was dominating when I was in that age.
Right.
You know, really into it.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's cool that you've got a 125, 250, and 500 of his.
Yeah.
Championship bikes.
That worked out great. Who would have thought back then that it would happen, you know?
Oh, so. And then the lineup of the Yamahas that you have, all championship bikes again. And you kind of focus on that, you know, championship winning rides.
Yeah, I was going to do a motocross themed restaurant at one time, so I started buying a handful of bikes. I went to Mecum. I'm like, I'm going to get 5 bikes for this restaurant. And that led to meeting the people at the Moto Armory, and that led to a trip up there, and I met you. And I ended up buying a bunch of bikes, and then went back again, and then started buying from other people. And all of a sudden I looked around, and I have like 68 bikes. And I'm like, this is too many, way too many. And I noticed that when I'd be looking at the bikes and spending time and showing them to people, I really gravitated towards the works bikes and the team bikes, the ones that had stories. You know, this bike was raced here and this one was raced there. And I kind of started selling off some of the bikes and really focusing on buying more and more works bikes and team bikes.
So, you got a great collection of those as it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to have them, and knowing the history and growing up and watching it, you know, makes it special.
Yeah. Do you ever sell any of them?
Well, occasionally, yeah. Sometimes someone will want to bike more than I do, and they'll make a good offer, and I'll sell one, and then I think I don't need any more, but I end up buying 1 or 2 or 3 more. You know, so it happens. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, long term, do you have plans for your collection?
You know, I'm still kicking around the restaurant idea. When I first started it, right after we got the plans approved and we're about to go forward, COVID hit.
Yep.
Shut us down for a couple of years, and all my friends in the industry said, don't do it. And then we got out of COVID, and then they had supply chain issues, and all the friends in the restaurant industry said, don't do it. And now it's kind of a labor issue thing that they're fighting. So I'm kind of in a hold pattern on the restaurant to see what happens in the economy and if we're going into a recession or not, or if it's going to snap back.
Yeah, so. But you've got lots of room to display them at your beautiful home here, and it's nice to be surrounded like that with that much quality and history.
Yeah, I really like it. I enjoy the time there, and I don't have a lot of friends that are in motocross, but the ones I do, they love coming over and looking at them. And
absolutely.
Going through everything, and the helmets and the gear and everything else. So.
Yeah, no, that adds a lot to it. It's not just bikes.
No, I really started collecting helmets. You know, when I was racing, I was slow. I never had a custom helmet or anything. I didn't have a Troy Lee or anything like that. So I started collecting helmets, and I liked it more than jerseys and gear, really. And
they don't leak oil.
No, they don't leak like the bikes do, and they're just really special to me. I bet I have the DNA to create the ultimate motocross racer if someone will work on all this.
That's true. Yeah. 23andMe, your way to a new Jeremy.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, I'd love to start going and having a look.
All right, have at it.
All right, we'll be back. Travis Pastrana is one of the most famous people in motorcycle racing. Check that. One of the most famous people in the world. Everything he does is crazy cool, and he does it well, and he does it with class. And in 2000, he won the AMA 125 Outdoor Championship on this very bike. It is absolutely state of the art for the year 2000. If you look at the wheels on this thing, we've got an aluminum billet hub in the front, magnesium hub in the rear, works forks with castle nut on the top, special radiators, motor of doom, works shock, gripper seat. This thing's got it all. And it was a battle all year long in 2000. All right, let's take a look at the other side of Travis's bike. Bill's pipe, instead of Pro Circuit for change and silencer, tie foot pegs, carbon fiber, boot guards, and clutch cover, billet caliper carrier, and then, as you can see on the forks, titanium nitrate coatings make them nice and slippery. And one of the things that I liked about this bike is his mechanic, Lee McCullum, put his finishing position for each race on the backside of the number plate, kind of capturing it as a piece of history that it is. For 2000, Travis finally won his only outdoor motocross championship. And that's the only bike there is. All right, let's talk about Tim Ferry's 1995 RM 125. He actually won his first national on this bike before getting hurt and ending his season. It's very period correct with an awesome pipe that we'll show you in just a second. It's all handmade, but they were stuck with the production rules, so they're using a stock chassis and subframe. Magnesium hubs though, which are very, very trick on the rear. Billet front, pro taper bars, and works suspension. This set of forks was actually used in the Supercross series as well. So Suzuki had a great reputation at this period of time, and Tim Ferry says this is the fastest 125 he ever rode. So that's saying something. All right, let's take a look at the other side of Tim Ferry's 1995 RM 125. You know, that mag hub, I guess they only used them on the rear because the front ones might have broke. But we have all billet suspension underneath. We've got a sandcast inner clutch cover. It looks like a stock outer. But look at this pipe. This is all handmade. Every one of these lines represents a cut in the sheet metal, and then they had to hand hammer this out. It's got to be countless hours just to build one pipe. And all you have to do is drop it once to dent it, and you got to replace it. So that's factory cool right there. And the side panels back in this day too, if you'll notice, only have one bolt that's visible holding them on. They were attached to the radiator and that back underneath the seat. So there's really nothing for the rider's legs to get hung up on. That was a pretty cool design. All right, we're gonna look at Brock Hepler's 2006 RM250F. This is one of my favorite looking bikes. It's just classy. There is a lot going on here with works suspension, a sandcast ignition cover, works forks. RG3 did the suspension, coatings on the forks as per usual. But some of the most interesting stuff is going to be on the flip side of this thing, because this thing must have created a hell of a lot of heat. There is so much heat protection that we're going to show you here in just a second. They must have had some serious problems with vapor locking. Okay, now that we're on the other side of Brock's bike, Yoshimura exhaust, sandcast clutch cover. And if we come down here and take a look, they've built a heat dam all the way around the head, the carburetor, around the radiator hoses, the gas tank. And you only do that because you have to. Usually a good radiator would have taken most of that away, but looks like they were battling some heat demons. This bike also has the yellow anodized XL rims on it, which are a very classy look. And just overall, such a great looking bike, even by today's standards. Let's talk about Tim Ferry's RM125 that he won the East Coast Supercross Championship with. Up front, Suzuki was experimenting with a lot of different forks. They went upside down, then conventional, then back to upside down. This particular year, they were using a 49 millimeter conventional fork. A lot of people really liked this fork, but it didn't stay. They went back to upside down the following year. They had a very unusual 3-bolt bottom triple clamp. That was not used beyond this setup. They have a magnesium ignition cover, of course, works linkage and shock out back, and the mag versus alloy hubs front and rear. And it was pretty production-based bike, but Tim Ferry was a really talented rider and able to bring the #1 plate home to Suzuki that year. All right, taking a look at the other side of the bike. This one looks like it might have a factory performance pipe versus the stock one. It has an Answer Shorty carbon fiber silencer, magnesium clutch cover, inner and outer there. The rest of it, like I said, was pretty production based, but it got the job done.